Often with the work we make, we'll have an idea or a starting point, but then it's only really kind of completed by the participation of people who live, work, know about that place.
Yes, they're the experts.
So we've invited in people like Friends of Glasney who, did a huge amount of work here and commissioned the excavations to come and kind of help create this and bring it alive. And from that excavation, we now have the map of what this would have looked like. We were putting together an idea for this year's Penryn Arts Festival, and because our work always responds to the relationships between people and place, we realised last year that it was going to be the 750th anniversary this year of the founding of Glasney College, and we thought if we're going to do something in Penryn for the Arts Festival, then we just have to kind of respond to this. So in terms of the actual the physical marking of the site, I think this came through talking to people who were involved in the last excavations here, through talking to people who are interested in Glasney or who've researched and done work on Glasney, and this sense that because there's only this tiny piece of material fabric from the building that remains, of trying to imagine the volume and the scale of this place.
And it's always a bit strange when an idea which is internalised sort of comes out. What I'm conscious of is that whilst there have been maps drawn of what the site might have been and based on archaeological finds, etc., to actually externalise it on the site in as close as we can the measurements of the actual missing building is quite potent.
Yeah, it feels really powerful.
We're talking about awakening the site. In a way art practice can do that.
We've been helped by Caroline Robinson from Clear Mapping Company, and she has taken the reconstruction plan that was created as part of the 2005 excavation and report, and she's basically kind of gridded it up for us. So we've got this to scale metre grid, which means that we can much more easily measure, get our distances, and measure everything in relation to the contemporary outline of the buildings and the walls and the boundaries, to get it as accurate as possible. So we wanted to do something that would kind of spark the imagination of people that walked into the field. And we decided to do something that we hoped would be quite sort of simple and robust, and also respond to another layer of the site, which is the fact that it's a field and it's used for play, for dog walking, the contemporary uses of the site. So we went with marking it out with sports pitch marking technology, so line marking.
Hopefully it will do the job.
And we've also kind of gathered over the last few weeks an amazing group of people who've supported the project, from the Mayor of Penryn lending us the line marking machine via the cricket club.
The actual making of the shape is a learning experience for us. It's as if we're making the marks in order to try and understand what it is that happened here. The notion of somewhere that's been abandoned and made to disappear, and then being able to reimagine it and re-inhabit it has been really interesting. it hasn't happened before, and it's kind of ghostwriting in a way, ghostwriting the site. So we're kind of probing into kind of the meaning of Glasney by making this work.
One of the kind of early ideas was that this kind of marked out map, blueprint of Glasney Collegiate Church would then become a container for all the live events and the actions, interventions and happenings and activations that we're putting on over the whole weekend. You know, it's here for people to dance in, to talk in, to invent games in. We've had children kind of running up and down the walls. So it's an invitation, the imagination.
Where are we standing?
We are standing kind of inside the outer wall, the southern wall of Glasney Collegiate Church. And this is the wall that forms the Lady Chapel, right at the eastern end.
So last night, Michelle Brown gave a lecture in what would have been the presbytery, and we had this kind of little congregation of people sitting, hearing stuff that you might only hear in a lecture hall, or you might read in a library book or a dry archive, but actually to be in the place.
So Glasney and Trevisa have not only made a major contribution to the English language and to opening up whole rafts of knowledge that had been closed to ordinary people, opening it up, sharing it. Now what's the next thing that you're going to do once you've done that in English? Cornish. And the Celtic languages are quick to build on their earlier traditions of translating as well.
It was quite a cloudy day, and it almost had the atmosphere of being inside a building. It felt like the space created by the audience and the lecturer sort of felt like a room, like a kind of outside-in room. And I found that really powerful, really powerful.
An evocation, really,
Yeah.
of the place.
Yeah, so we're talking about awakening a lot, and all of the events that are happening this weekend are quite sort of gentle animations of the site and the place through different lenses, so through writing, through talking, disseminating knowledge, through dancing and through walking and through having a physical connection with the site through carrying stones.
From 1548, the stones of Glasney were sold, plundered and recycled across the region.
Got to go and get some. You got a brief there, and then there.
Yeah. The red ribbon, it's sort of very...
It's beautiful. It's very regal, isn't it?
Oh, they're portable museum pieces.
Yeah, that's lovely.
So sort of tangible connections with place are important to us. So we've just walked around Penryn with 2 stones from Glasney and a small procession of people, and we ended up bringing the stones back to the field to kind of momentarily repatriate them in the place they came from, and walked the whole outline of the walls of the building. So kind of walking the stones through the space that they would have existed in, would have been held in.
Well, I mean, when people go on holidays, they buy a souvenir, which means to remember, and yeah, that's the sort of the thing that we're doing with the carrying of stones and the marking of the place. I mean, Katie talks about when the bards come to read from the Ordinalia in the Cornish language. She's talking about calling or speaking the words back into the building where the words were written, and so there's a sort of a re-meeting with past, present, and future in that enactment. I think I saw the Gorseth in this field 2 years ago, and and heard the language probably in the fullest way I'd ever heard it before. And in fact, we're both learning now, stumbling through it. But I think part of the project is about not just about our belonging, about what is it that makes home for people? What is it that makes people feel connected? And I think that's the thing we're always doing with our work. You know, what is the way, as I kind of said before, what does place do to us, and what do we contribute to place?
I mean, I live in Penryn, and I have been sort of interested in this place for a couple of years, firstly through working with theatre students and responding to the kind of history of the site, but actually now we've kind of been here creating this project, and from spending a day raking the grass, a sort of very physical connection with the site, to having hundreds of conversations with people about Glasney, people who are using the field, dog walkers and neighbours and historians. I feel much more connected to it, really. I just think it's an extraordinary place, a really extraordinary place, and really should be celebrated and kind of known about. And I know there's a lot of people working on that.
I think the other element of it is because we do respond to place and why places even exist. Often you look at what is it that has generated a place, and obviously lots of places, the river or the sea has been the generator or the reason why people inhabit a particular place. But there's another kind of river in Penryn, which is the river of knowledge and language, that's been talked about a lot, particularly in terms of the identity of Cornwall as a country in its own right, but also because the language has been, I don't want to use the word preserved, the language has been put into the safekeeping of an artistic vehicle called the play or the Ordinalia. We're going to visit 6 of the rooms of Glasney Collegiate Church, and in each one there will be, as we were just told, extracts from the Ordinalia. And the intention of this morning is the recognition of the power of Glasney, but we are quite consciously speaking the words back into the building where the words were originally written. And so rather like the discussion about whether something's disappeared or not, the building Glasney has disappeared, has been erased, has been the victim of a kind of an amnesia, and that the amnesia is broken by the presence of these plays. And once you get a play, the play has to become embodied, and the embodiment of play is through performance, and the performance of an idea means that it comes back to life again.
I know the reason he had, because it is the tree of virtue. He who eats of its fruit will know what is in the mind of the Father. Not a thing will there be in the country around that he cannot tell. It is great folly in him if he abandons that same fruit.
A maze of al pryderu, Penryn Alaf the Ruthiel, and Evel Orthi Derry Rakal Genes Bonus Gil.
I am distraught with considering what I shall possibly do by plucking the apple, for fear of there being guile in me.
Tor in our feral vi, heb hocia fast have iddo, ag unwaith gradd a wati my tepo evanolo.
Pluck it at my risk, without hesitating quickly, have done, and also make thy husband eat of it.
Stop and weathen troha and door my hilleth aga heves.
Bend down the tree towards the earth that I may reach them.
Niara, Sao decent claw, Tore hake the gathers.
I will, but come thou quietly. Pluck it and go thy way.
Ever to Adam. Adam, istin ddim tha dawn, tan henna, the wasps of thee. Dison hep whether tha gone, the sempus gwa,
Adam, reach me thy hand. Take that from me. Quietly, without blowing thy horn. Eat it immediately.